Okay, this is great. I can just turn it on now. I don't need Caroline's assistant. She's busy in the other room. I'm Gary Lucas, and thanks for tuning in. My friend Nikki Carson alerted me to the fact that today is Andy Warhol's 92nd birthday, and I thought that that was a good peg to hang the show on. And then Dave Pearson came through with this beautiful graphic, Nat Finkelstein photo of most of the Velvet Underground and other Factory people with Andy. So I'm gonna do some tunes associated with that, and but I'm gonna start off actually with something I promised my old friend David Stubbs. David is a great journalist, UK based, and he's written many fascinating books. There's one about krautrock, which is not to be missed. And he's a big fan of Kraftwerk, as am I. And I met David in 1990 in Berlin at Berlin Independence Days Festival. And this was held at the Loft, which was a great venue in Berlin. And also Charles Shaar Murray was at that show. Stephen Wells, Seething Wells, Susan Williams. Anyway, they were all there, and that is how I kind of became friends with them, and they gave me a very good review of my solo show, and one of the first things that I used to play solo. Yeah, I'll turn this off. I've had complaints about the air conditioner. Let's see how long I can tolerate it off. Okay. So now coming to you with this new angle also, and this Yeti, Blue Yeti X mic, which is supposed to improve the sound quality. I hope so. I've tried to find the sweet spot on the mic so as not to overload it too much, but it being Kraftwerk and the Velvet Underground, which is what I'm primarily going to play, I don't think a little distortion will hurt your ears too much. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. Let's take a ride on the Autobahn. Plug in this Blue Yeti mic too already. Yeah. That's a lovely tune. Okay, well, that was for David Stubbs. He told me to be watching, and I hope you like to check out his book on krautrock and anything he's wrote. This guy, aka Mr. Abusing, is brilliant. And, okay. So enough said. So, Andy Warhol, I met him once only, and a friend of mine named Chuck Stevenson, who was an art collector and a commodity speculator. I had lunch with him sometime in the mid-'80s, and after lunch we took a stroll over to Fifth Avenue, and there was Andy. So he introduced us. I got kind of a soft handshake, and that was it. But what a great artist and catalyst, cultural innovator. You know, you could say so much about Andy Warhol and the factory and the whole pop art scene, and he was really at the center of the whole thing and got a lot going. And as Don Van Vliet said, he really souped things up. That was one of Don's favorite phrases. And actually, I picked up a copy of his diaries to see if Beefheart got mentioned, because at the time I stopped working with Don, I hooked him up with Julian Schnabel, who was very good friends with Andy. And sure enough, there's a diary entry about Julian's coming over today with that rock person, Captain Beefheart. I like rock person, that's pretty good. So I hope they got along fine and everything. I don't really know the outcome or any good gossip about that encounter. But anyway, so it would be Andy's 92nd birthday today, and what better tribute than to do some of the songs of the great Velvet Underground, who are one of my favorite bands. Maureen Tucker, I hope you're watching. She's my Facebook friend. I had the privilege of playing at a kind of a wake memorial service at Tramps when Sterling Morrison died, who was the original guitar partner of Lou Reed in the Velvet Underground, and Patti Smith was there, Maureen was there, Lenny Kaye. I jammed with those guys. It was beautiful, and I know that when he was very sick, someone asked me for some of my music to send to him, and I did put a package together, and I got the feedback that from that person that he really liked my Gods and Monsters album, which is my second album of that title, which is great. And I have, you know, a geographical connection. Besides being a friend of Lou's in New York, Lou attended Syracuse University. I'm from Syracuse. My father attended Syracuse University, albeit not in the years Lou was there. And the fact is that I think he was one of the most innovative and greatest artists of all time. And people are always lumping, for some reason, Captain Beefheart and the Velvet Underground together as two very influential cult bands, although I would say the Velvets are far more influential or listened to than Beefheart. But a couple of years ago I was at the 92nd Street Y to hear Laszlo Krasznahorkai, Belatar scenarist, a great novelist from Hungary, and Salman Rushdie read from new works. And I met them both, and Salman Rushdie told me when I was at Cambridge, or maybe it was Oxford, I don't remember, one of the two, it was only the Velvet Underground and Captain Beefheart. So, you know, I would urge any Beefheart fans out there to further investigate the Velvet Underground, because they're great, albeit it's a whole different kettle of fish there. And so I was in Italy a couple of years ago. I love playing in Italy, and I've really been doing lots of concerts there in the last few years. And I did a television broadcast from Bologna, a very famous rock show called Red Ronnie Live at the Roxy Bar. And I was there in the company of Alessio Franchini and Luca Zanotti, my Italian agent. And I met a very, very popular, famous Italian rock singer, Enrico Ruggeri, on the program with me, along with Fausto Mezzalella, a very famous Italian guitarist who's tragically passed away. And so Enrico was keen to do a number with me, and he said, well, do you know any of these Lou Reed songs? And I said, yeah. So we decided to do Sweet Jane. And I love this song. It's on the fourth Velvet Underground album, Loaded. There's a couple of versions floating around, one more complete than the other. I'm going to do the truncated version for time purposes. And what can I tell you? I used to sing this in a band. I had a band in Taipei, Taiwan, called the Autobahn Band, which is Taiwanese for the bullshit band, Autobahn. And we used to do this. So that's another story. So here we go. Let's see. I have to play softly. I don't have a vocal mic, and I'm trying to get everything balanced through this mono Blue Yeti, so I hope it sounds good to you out there. Standing on the corner, suitcase in my hand, Jack is in his chorus and Jane is in a vest, and me, I'm in a rock and roll band. Riding in a Stutchback hat gym. Those were different times, and all the poets studied rules of verse, and all the ladies, they rolled their eyes. Sweet Jane, Sweet Jane, Sweet Jane. Like to go out dancing, and other people, they've gotta work, and there's always some evil mothers that'll tell you life is just full of dirt. The women never really faint, and villains always blink their eyes, and children are the only ones that blush. Their life is but to die. And anyone Jackie is a banker, and Jane, she is a clerk, and they're both saving up all their money when they come home from work. Sitting by the fire, radio just playing a little classical music for kids, the march of the wooden soldiers, and you can hear Jack say, Jane, Sweet Jane, Sweet Jane. Let's see, a little stroll through the Velvet Underground songbook. I'm gonna enjoy this one now. This is from the Velvet's third album, which I think they're all great. You know, I'm a big fan. I first heard them in, I think it was my friend Andy Cherto, another Andy, had the Banana album, and I was babysitting over at his house. He also had the first album by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. two brilliant albums, both of them produced by Tom Wilson. That's a subject for further investigation. And okay. Well, I'm beginning to see the light. Well, I'm beginning to see the light. Some people work very hard, but soon they never get it right. Well, I'm beginning to see the light. Some breakfast at night. Remember hearing that at the dawn of the 80s. Was it? No, the end of the 60s, on New Year's Eve, 1969, as we entered 1970. At a party in Syracuse, and I thought it was a very good omen. It's such an uplifting song, and I really don't want to butcher it too bad with my vocals and not having a mic here. Anyway, check out that record. And while I got your attention, I want to thank Christian Sabo, who visited my virtual tip jar, and how. You are a mensch. Chris Clark, double mensch, and Mark Green, triple mensch. Mark is a guitar student, and he's really had me slow down a lot of my finger-picking stuff to analyze what I'm doing, because I don't really know how to describe it. I just do it. There was no sheet music, let's say. It was something I just developed by ear. And I have a kind of an orthodox technique, especially with the right hand. But anyway, he's working on a piece, so Mark, if you're watching this, come on back. Let's do another lesson soon. I want to hear how you've progressed with this beautiful stuff. All right, now, I'm going to turn the air back on. Sorry, Amy Alt. I know she's bugging every time there's this air conditioner thing going in the back, but it's a little bit brutal back here. Okay, so now let's see. I have just the thing, but again, let's get this thing revved up. For me, I love the Banana album. There's not a bad cut. I mean, on all of them, there's not a bad cut on any Velvet Underground album, in my book. But this, my absolute favorite, which I remember distinctly jarring me awake at that babysitting gig, my friend Andy Cherto's in 1966, is the last cut, European Sun, to Delmore Schwartz, which is, if you can imagine the sound of a subway rumbling through the underground and a nuclear bomb going off simultaneously. It approximates it. It's got elements of free jazz, amazing guitar playing by Lou, who seemed to be embarrassed about revisiting this frenetic, dissonant style in later years. I don't know why, because I think he was one of the best. And in fact, I bonded with Lou. John Zorn had a first festival of radical Jewish culture in Munich that I was invited to along with my friend Walter Horn, to perform our score for The Golem, a German silent horror film, a Frankenstein myth, a Jewish Frankenstein myth. And Lou, I met him at the airport. I didn't know he was on the gig. And he was super friendly to me. He came up to me and thanked me. I had been asked by Musician magazine as to my favorite guitar solo. And I said, I heard her call my name, which is the first track on side 2 of the second Velvet Underground album, White Light, White Heat, which is unbelievable, distorted, great guitar playing, going for it, going for notes that really don't quite exist on the guitar, just astonishing work. And I think it was controversial in the group because John Cale left shortly after that, and I think there was an issue with Lou cranking up the volume level on that track. He went in to remix it or something, but anyway, he thanked me for that, and we became friends. And he was very complimentary of my guitar playing. I hung out with him a couple of times in his apartment and jammed guitars with him, and he showed me some stuff, I showed him some stuff. And I then, one of the last times I was in touch with him, I recorded for Zorn on an album called Street of Lost Brothers on Sodic Records, a version of European Sun. And I sent Lou an MP3 of this, and he wrote back and he said, "This is beyond cool," which is one of the best compliments I could think of getting. So I'm going to try and do this for you now here. Let's get the beat going. Not that fast, but here we go. All right. Anyway, that's a taste of what we do around here, what I do to keep from getting too bored during the pandemic. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to be able to play for you standing up. Maybe next time I will be able to do it. I didn't have a cord long enough to do it with this mic, but I've got one that's supposedly arriving tonight, so check me out on Saturday. Let's turn this annoying thing off again. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Gary Lucas. I love playing for you. Please visit my virtual tip jar. The address is on there. Enough said. Oh, I've got a piece about the amazing Peter Green in Please Kill Me, which is a great website and a great book. Check that out. And I guess it's time to leave you. This is the Jack LaLanne theme song. Let's say goodbye. I'll see you again on Saturday at 3, as always. Love you guys. And I'm going to get behind me, Satan.